All right, we are good to go. All right, people, welcome to the show. It is Wednesday, 9:06 p.m. Central Time. Fall started, allegedly. I say allegedly because it's Texas, so Texas weather can be. But the monarch butterflies are coming out, so it usually means that we might be getting cold weather sooner rather than later.
Yep.
So which is always a good thing because I have a lot of hoodies that need to be worn. But welcome to the show, people. Is the experience? You already know me. I'm Drew, and with me as always.
There's Justin from Spinebuster Tees and spinebustertees.com.
Yes, sir. How are you doing today, good sir?
I'm doing great. I can't complain. Loving life. Was busy at the shop today, and yeah, I can't ask for anything better than that. So, how was
I
your
love
day?
I love to hear that. My day was pretty chill. I didn't really do too much. Watched a certain documentary that dropped on Netflix today, which we'll talk about in a bit. And then just
Oh, are you talking about the documentary about Japan and the Super Nintendo and video games?
oh, there's a documentary about that?
No, I made that up.
It actually sounds like a pretty cool documentary.
Well, I mean, I'm pretty sure there's one out there, but
Actually, I think Nintendo just celebrated like their 130th like birthday or something,
about like 140th or something, like 142 or something outrageous.
which is nuts that they've been around that long. But happy birthday, Nintendo! You've given us some good shit over the years, but not that documentary, unfortunately. Another documentary, a probably less interesting documentary. I'll just leave it at that. But yeah, I watched that and then just ate a little bit of dinner before I got on the podcast and drank a lot of water, took some Advil, and I'm good to go.
Oh, that's good, good, good. I was actually gonna go to the gym tonight, then I forgot AEW was tonight, so I was like, okay, well, it's Grand Slam. I'll give it a gander. So
Yeah, I did see Grand Slam was on. I did see what happened with a few things. Hook. Well, I mean, we'll get to the AEW portion of the show later, but I'm gonna go to the gym tomorrow. I went on Monday. Wasn't able to go yesterday. Not today, but I will go tomorrow morning. I know the missus, she works in the morning, so gonna go in the morning. There's also this horror movie I want to see that just came out. It's a pretty obscure horror movie that I don't think a lot of people are gonna watch, but I want to see it.
what's it called?
It's called Azrael. It's I think it's a movie that's gonna come on Shudder pretty soon.
Yeah,
It
yeah. I think I've heard of it.
it's with the chick from Ready or Not, Samara Weaving. She is in like the apocalypse, but like
Right,
there's no dialogue in the like I don't know if like her character has no dialogue or there's just no dialogue in general in the
right, right.
movie. I saw the trailer and went, that looks fucking awesome. So I don't know. I'm a fan of like very obscure stuff. Like I like my blockbusters. I like my Marvel superhero stuff, but I also love, my independent, obscure, horror movies or just
Speaking
independent movies
of,
in
I
general.
speaking of Marvel, I saw what was that? The Thunderbolts, where the fuck it's called?
Yeah, Thunderbolts.
Not a fan of the trailer.
I don't know. It looks fun to me. I like
I
Florence
don't even
Pugh.
know what the fuck Marvel's doing anymore at this point, man. Like,
I
just,
mean,
man, just give me the regular. Like, no one gives a fuck about this. Like,
says you, says you.
I mean, yeah, says me, but shit, man. Like how? Like, I don't know, man. Maybe I'm just a grumpy old man. I guess I don't know, but just
Probably. I
I
don't
just
know.
I just hate how they just try to keep pushing things and pushing stories that the regular audience probably doesn't even really give a fuck about. So
I mean, Guardians of the Galaxy.
well, it's different because Guardians of the Galaxy people like actually start to know who Rocket Raccoon was from Marvel vs. Capcom 3, and they became generally interested in Guardians of the Galaxy because of Marvel
Well,
vs. Capcom 3.
well, Guardians of the Galaxy, the comic was like terrible. I don't even think it sold that well. So,
Right,
and,
right.
and this is at a time when Marvel didn't own X-Men or Fantastic Four, and they still technically don't own Spider-Man. Sony does. So when they announced they were doing a Guardians film, people are like, "Really? You're really scraping at that low at the barrel for that?" And look how that turned out. So again, like I'm not gonna say I'm hyped for the film. I'm intrigued because of theories I have about the film, and I like the actors in it. I
What
like
are they? What are they supposed to be like? Like there's like two Captain America like I guess attire guys. Well, I just don't understand it.
Winter Soldier. He's in it. Bucky, which I like.
Oh, okay. Well, that's fair. So,
And I have a Winter Soldier tattoo. Um, Florence
oh no,
Pugh.
that's why you're hyped for it. Well, not hyped for it, but you're intrigued over it.
I like him. I like Florence Pugh. I like anything she's in. She's Yelena. Again, I'm gonna watch it regardless. Again, I'm not gonna say I'm hyped for it, but I'm intrigued by it because it looks like they're going back to form as far as like not making everything funny, haha. I think it's kind of
Right.
one of the biggest complaints on a lot of their recent movies that everything has to be funny instead of just having like one comedic relief and everything else is a different tone.
I understand.
So,
I got you.
but yeah, I'm gonna watch it. It looks fun, and also the co showrunner for the Bear is writing the script, so I love the Bear. But anywho, um, there's another trailer that came out. I don't know if you saw it. It's for a horror movie called The Sinners.
Yeah, I saw it. Looks all right. This is okay. Doesn't look fantastic,
Right.
but it looks okay. It's coming out in 2025.
It's very vague because
Yeah.
it's funny because like there's like this whole thing about how like movies will put out teasers, quote unquote, and they just basically give you like a whole trailer. Whereas like because like the Thunderbolts trailer, they called it a teaser. And it's like
It
that
was
was
it was like 3 minutes damn near, wasn't it?
yeah, I was gonna say that was like 3 fucking minutes. That's a trailer, dude. This trailer for Sinners, it was a legit teaser because they made sure to keep it very vague
Yeah.
and not show you everything. Which I'm like, that's how a trailer should be. That's how a teaser should be. And you got Michael B. Jordan in it. You got Ryan Coogler directing it, who directed Creed, who directed
Black
Fruitvale
Panther.
Station, Black Panther, all of which had Michael B. Jordan in it. So, and it's supposed to be like a god.
So this is Ryan Coogler and Michael B. Jordan is like Scorsese and De Niro pretty much.
I mean, yeah, they're the new director actor tandem now, and so
Yeah,
far
yeah,
it
nothing
works.
wrong,
So
nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that at all. So
it's supposed to be a horror. It's supposed to be a vampire horror movie set during Jim Crow South.
yeah.
So that it's gonna sound intense as fuck, but all right, you already got my money. But what else was I gonna say? Yeah, as far as movies goes,
There's gonna be certain people out there that's gonna push like the narrative, like the race narrative, and like they're gonna be like, "Oh, I don't want to see it because they're pushing the race narrative." And well, no, it's just a movie that happened to be set during the Jim Crow South, and it's about it's like a horror maybe psychological too as well. It kind of looks like so.
right? And I'm also a fan of like, and again, I know I mentioned earlier, like I like my blockbuster Marvel stuff. But at the same time, I like new and original ideas. Because Hollywood is getting very IP friendly, where
Oh,
it's
for
just,
years,
oh yeah, like for years, like again, I
for
love
the
this
last
stuff.
15 years, for sure.
At the end of the day, as long as you have a good script, it works. But like
Yeah.
it's also refreshing when you can watch something that's just original and not an IP.
It's kind of like the late 80s, early 90s in horror where everything was a sequel. Everything was a fucking. There was really no. Probably really the only original thing was like Hellraiser, right? But
Right,
everything was a fucking sequel, pretty much, of like the major horror movies like in the late 80s, early 90s.
right. So again, it's nice to see when Hollywood can take risks. I mean, depending on who you are, if you're somebody that
Right.
has a little leverage, you can kind of get away with taking risks. Someone like Ryan Coogler has proven that he can both do small independent movies like Fruitvale Station and then go on to do, big budget Hollywood blockbusters like Black Panther.
Yep.
So for Warner Brothers sees that and goes, okay, do whatever you want. Here's a blank check. Put whatever number you want. We'll let you do whatever you want. So I like that. I like risks being taken in Hollywood. But speaking of risks, let's start with the main course. Or do you want to start it differently? Do you want to start with the shows or get with the documentary first?
For the documentary first, I'm pretty sure that's what most people here are wanting to hear.
All right. What's up, Maurice? All right, so as you guys know, today the on Netflix, if you have a Netflix account, uh, the Vince McMahon documentary dropped, which is called Mr. McMahon. It was 6 episodes, as Netflix usually does. They usually just drop everything at once. In this case, I'm kind of glad they did. It's just how I feel, but um, I I didn't hate it personally. I was just kind of like, in some ways, it was kind of boring because it just kind of rehashed every story that we already knew about Vince McMahon.
So
Every
before we continue,
right,
I have to say this.
right,
This was not meant for people like us.
right,
Diehard wrestling fans has been watching it for years. Who knows most of these stories. I like how this was a modern take of it, modern interviews of things that we knew already. And there was a couple nuggets of things in there. I was like, "Oh, okay, different perspectives that I never heard before, but still really, generally the same thing. This was meant for people, very, very casual wrestling fans, new wrestling fans, or people who just love documentaries, who may want to get into watching pro wrestling. But I don't think this really would start to draw new wrestling fans. I think it would just be like, oh my god, if you're people who like wrestling, man, they just like miserable people, they like miserable people, doing miserable shit to each other. But I digress. Continue.
right. No, no, no. You definitely hit the nail on the head with that. This is more for the people that are the filthy casuals, as I usually call them. But yeah, just again, it rehashed every story about Vince McMahon that we already knew. The ones who watch the shit a lot more. Um, I guess with a sprinkle of tiny information that was like, oh, I didn't really know that, or I didn't remember that, but um, it was a very well made documentary. It didn't sugarcoat some things. It seemed like, I mean, because at the beginning of the documentary, Vince was like, I'm not going to tell you everything. I'm just going to give you some good shit. He talks about his family growing up being abused by his stepdad and um, not meeting his dad until he was 12, and talked about how like him and his dad, didn't always have the most loving relationship, but when it came to business, they always seemed to kind of meet each other in the middle. And like there was kind of like a very off-putting bit in the documentary where Vince talked about the last thing his dad sent him before he passed away, which was "I love you and I'm proud of you."
Right.
And it was like a very touching moment. And then you get to Tony Atlas, man, he never liked his dad. And then you just get to other people just kind of talking about their very conflicted relationship. Um, so I don't know. Tony Atlas is funny. He's usually entertaining for maybe for the wrong reasons, but um, Hulk Hogan was on here, and Hulk Hogan does what Hulk Hogan usually does. When he talks about business, he's usually right, but when he starts talking about anything else other than business, you start to question if he thinks the sky is blue or if it's
There was
about to
there
rain.
was one part in the documentary where talking about the steroid trial, and Vince was like, hey, just come on out, you know what I mean? Just come out and say, just say that you did, just say that you took steroids, whatever. It's funny, it is funny because Vince McMahon was the voice of reason in that situation. I'm like, yeah, Vince, that's right. And but he was right. He was right. So, but anyway, but it's funny. It's funny that this was supposed to be a smear campaign, but Hulk Hogan, still kind of, made not made about him, but somehow it still ended up being about Hogan in certain aspects. For that particular part of the documentary, where even Vince was like, "Come on, man, just say that you did steroids." Oh man.
I don't know. It's weird because I kept hearing like the term hit job before I watched the documentary. It was kind of like a mix of both. I didn't think it was like fully a hit job because I looked at it like this: is that Netflix, bought Raw for, over over $1 billion. I looked at it as more like I think they were trying to be as careful as they possibly could because they bought this property or this, IP from the guy who made the IP. So I guess they wanted to maybe be a little careful with what they were saying or who they brought on. So I don't know if it was. I don't know if I would call it a hit job because I know like later in the documentary when they started to share more updated information. Because the documentary started in 2021,
Right.
and they were even like very careful to put up a graphic saying, these interviews are done before the allegations came out. So there was a bit in the documentary later on Bruce Pritchard came out and it said January 2024. So
Right.
this is more than likely a week before the allegations came out, where he said, I didn't like the rough cut or the earlier cut of the documentary because I thought it was a hit job. Blah blah. Blah. I'm like, I don't know. I didn't get that impression. I don't know. I don't know.
Well, no. So a lot of people were saying that, oh, it's gonna be a double shovel burial. It wasn't due to anybody else. It was due to Vince himself. He buried himself. He's a lot of shit in here that we all knew and just confirmed it.
Right, and this to me, and this is just me. I don't think he came off very well in the documentary because he was as honest as Vince could be, but I think that was kind of his detriment. Is that the way Vince thinks is not the way most people think. Like Vince is very much a workaholic. This is the guy who's very famous at getting mad at people who sneeze. Paul Heyman told a story, about like he was pitching ideas to Vince about WrestleMania, and then he sneezed, and Vince was like, "I sneezed. It's a sign of weakness." And same thing with like, yawning or whatever. But there was one quote that he had about retirement where, and I wish I had the quote in front of me, where he goes like, he says something like, I don't feel sympathy for people who retire, just die. I'm like,
Right.
what?
Yeah, and like the part where he was talking about like Owen.
Yeah.
Um, you know, he mentioned that like well, the fans didn't come to see someone die.
Oh,
The fans
God.
came to see a wrestling show. I'm like, no shit. The fans didn't come to see anybody die, but yeah.
Yeah, that was not good. And also the Benoit quote where he said, Benoit just went nuts. I'm like, oh, okay. I don't know. Like the Benoit part was as morbid as it sounds. I would say that was maybe the part I was more interested in hearing because I just wanted to hear, him talk about it and maybe hear other people talk about it. Um, and Steve Austin had a quote about CTE that I thought was kind of interesting, where he was saying stuff like, well, I never got CTE because I did AB. I'm like, well, you also didn't work a very crash. I guess the more polite way to say maybe like a crash and burn style like Benoit did. Steve Austin was a little bit more. He kind of played it safe because he knew he didn't have to take too many risks, other than that pile driver that went completely wrong. But as we all know, Benoit,
What do you think about him saying I don't believe in CTE?
that's a little ignorant, in my
Yeah.
opinion. I think he was getting there by saying, if you have too many concussions, then you're doing it wrong. I'm like, probably would have said it differently, but I get where he's coming from.
Yeah,
So
I understand. I think some people were kind of taking out of not out of context per se, but like they're kind of taking they're not really understanding what he's saying. Like he's basically saying like, well, if you keep ramming if you're doing shit wrong, of course you're gonna have head problems. So he's like he doesn't believe that like I guess not necessarily wrestling. Obviously, wrestling calls CTE, but like I don't think he believes that the CTE or whatever it was the reason why Benoit killed his family. So
right, again, that's the whole Benoit thing. It's one of those things of like, if I never have to hear about it again, I'll be fine. But in this case, I think it made more sense not to avoid it because it played such a big part in not just WWE but wrestling.
I mean, this whole documentary was just the history of WWE and everything involved with it. Like
Basically.
that's pretty much was because Vince McMahon is the WWE. Like period. They talked about pretty much they held the high points or whatnot. Like like literally everything. You know what I mean? From WrestleMania 3 and Now may be a new meme. Did you see the obviously you saw a clip like with Dave Meltzer, but you see the clip going around with Dave Meltzer. He's like, actually 78,000.
Oh God. My God, that was just like, really, Dave? Who cares? Like,
I mean,
really?
it's true. It's true. I mean, it wasn't 93,000.
Yeah, and Wembley wasn't 85,000. It's like, but you guys still sold. You guys still sold over 70,000, which I was actually surprised that they brought up AEW for like a brief second during the
Yeah.
documentary. Which I guess it made sense because it was like, oh, the business is changing. We have a new company, or there's a new company on the rise. But
Yeah. They should have just had Cody came in. He's like, and I'm the one who created it.
that would have been funny as shit. Kind of surprised that there were some people that weren't in the documentary. I was a little surprised that Roman wasn't in it because
Yep.
he's the big star right now. A little surprised that maybe Orton didn't come out for a little bit.
I mean, really, the only current star that was really in the interviews was Cody.
Right. And he surprisingly stayed on a lot longer than I thought he would. Because I know as soon as I got to the allegations, obviously, a lot of people kind of dipped out, but the only current employees that stayed on were Bruce Pritchard and Cody.
I
When
mean,
I
well, he did. He also did answer questions at one of the Mia scrums too. So
right, but like you said, this whole documentary was essentially an entire history of WWE mixed in with Vince's uh you know childhood upbringing and life or whatever. But just again, there's just things he said where I'm like, does he really think that was a smart thing to say? Like, because Betty came in at like episode 4, I think, or no, 5. She came in episode 5, and that was when they were talking about, I guess, the sex angles that Vince would have with like Trish Stratus
right.
and stuff, and she was like, "What the fuck? Like that's gross." And they get to the bit where Trish Stratus starts barking like a dog and getting in her underwear. And looking back on it, even as a kid, I don't know what your reaction to it was when you were a kid, but like I remember being a kid watching that and going, "This is a little uncomfortable to watch." Like being a horny teen, I'm like, Trish Stratus is in her bra and panties, cool. But I'm like, this is seems kind of wrong. But um, there was one line where he's like, "I used to have a dog, and that bitch did whatever I told her to do," and I just kind of had to go, "No, I can't laugh at that. That's fucking horrible."
I mean, it was fine to me.
I don't know.
I mean, I mean, just like the other unintentional funny parts was like when they're talking about like the Attitude Era when it was all like there was no rape. Come on, now, you rapist.
The one,
there were no knives and guns. And you just see Pillman with the fucking pistol.
oh god.
It's just like maniacally, like fucking. Oh man, looking psychotic.
The one part I did laugh out loud about was when Triple H kidnapped Stephanie, and they got married at the altar or what? No, at like a drive-in quickie wedding, and
Yeah.
then Stephanie recites the line that Triple H had. It goes, "Vince, it's not a question of how many times did we consummate the marriage." I don't know why I just laughed out loud, but
Also as well. Um. Also as well, Tony Atlas talking about Pat Patterson, and he was all like, he's like, who am I gonna complain to? He's the booker.
and then he did that laugh.
Oh man.
When
Oh
he
man.
just out says, "I never liked him. He used to grab my pecker." Wait, what? He used to grab my pecker in the locker room.
Man, oh man.
Oh
But
god,
again, I mean, again, the documentary wasn't like anything There was nothing groundbreaking or anything like that. It was really like very updated information with every like pretty much anybody that you could ask for was there. Hogan, Brett, Shawn, Triple H, Cody, Rock, Stone Cold. You know what I mean? Like I just the only people I would like to hear from that are no longer with us is someone like Macho Man. You know what I mean? Macho Man, Scott Hall, um You know, I mean, guys like that who are not here with us to have this interview. I just want, I mean, maybe Macho Man is all like, I call Hogan out in 2002. Be a man, Hogan. The match is still on the table. Oh, I would have loved that. Be a man, Hogan.
Be me, oh yeah, brother. Another name, Kevin Nash. Surprised he wasn't on there too.
Was he? I think he was on there. No,
No,
he wasn't
no,
on there. He was
nope,
on there for a little bit.
no, he wasn't on there at all.
Thought he was.
Nope. Uh, I mean, Sean was obviously on there. Triple H obviously on there. But yeah, no, Kevin Nash wasn't on there at all. Nowhere to be seen. That was weird.
I mean, he would have told some great stories too.
He's usually a good storyteller. Mick Foley, another guy, wasn't on there. That's
He
so
would
weird.
just. I love Mick Foley, but he just would just kiss Vince's ass the entire time.
Or Kurt Angle, same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mick Foley. Yeah, I mean, again, just I think a lot of people want to tread water, and maybe not. I mean, I guess kind of go a little off topic. You know, just there are a lot of people out there, a lot of like Attitude Era guys who are still kind of loyal to Vince that want to tread water and just keep their opinions to themselves. I know Mick Foley did an interview where he just said straight up like, I want to wait until there's more information that comes up before I say anything.
Right.
You know, Taker has pretty much been like, I'm not saying shit. I'm just gonna stay over here and say the fuck out of this. And there's another in Rikishi. Rikishi, I mean, like, Rikishi needs to just stay off the internet. Like, please, like, Keish, stay off the internet. Just stop. Like, he made this comment about Vince on his podcast, which is not live, which is probably a smart thing for him to do, where he pretty much just said when it comes to Vince, he thinks everyone deserves a second chance.
Oh no.
Like, when I think of somebody who deserves a second chance, I think of somebody, I don't know, stealing or doing something that doesn't involve hurting people. Again, Rikishi, I don't know. Again, just he needs to stay the fuck off of social media. Like, for the love of God, please, Rikishi. Um, but yeah, that was a documentary. Again, wasn't for the ones that actually know about the stories and heard the story. Have already heard the stories like countless times. It's for the casuals. It's for the people that haven't watched wrestling in years or don't get on the internet and read the dirt sheets and blah blah blah. It's for the filthy casuals, as I would say. So
I mean, there's a way more stuff we could talk about. Even like the Dr. David Schultz thing and all that, and you know what I mean. Like, there's a ton of shit, but like we don't got the time for it.
yeah, we do, but we don't. We kind of need to move things along. But that was a documentary. People, check it out. If you like it, cool. I don't dissuade people from liking things. Let's see, what else can we talk about? So yeah, I guess we can talk about SmackDown for a little bit. Yeah, SmackDown, since it made the move to USA, has been doing not so bueno in the ratings.
well, hold on. Do you know why?
Tell me why.
Oh, yes.
Yes, what?
It's Jesus. It's because they are not on network TV anymore. There's less homes that have USA.
I figured that. I want to hear from you. That's why That's why I deferred to you. But yeah, I mean, just basic cable is easier to access. USA is not basic cable, which I look at NXT on CW. I think it's going to do better. Maybe not. Maybe not as much. Maybe not like a million views better or a million ratings better. But I think
for 800,000, that's better than what they're doing now.
Yeah, 800,000. Maybe they can get 900,000. Maybe.
But even at that too, like that's why like nowadays, like the number of viewers doesn't really matter. It's that fucking demographic. That's what fucking television companies care about. Obviously viewership does matter, but that's why they really care about the demographic more because everything's so skewed nowadays with DVR, records and people streaming on the app and things like that too as well. So, you know.
Yeah, but we'll see. We'll see about Smack. I'm surprised Netflix didn't want SmackDown too. It's weird. All right. Uh, I guess a big chunk of the show, like it usually is with SmackDown, was the Bloodline, or namely Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns, where they did a tape segment where they were at what is it, Georgia Tech,
Yep.
which was Roman Reigns' old stomping grounds, and Cody shows up and they have a little chit chat that they haven't had since Mania, where they just kind of you know basically it's more just like mine is bigger than yours conversation, where Roman's like, this is my building, I shed blood, sweat, and tears here on this field. You're in my ring, or not my ring, but you're in my building. You're on my field. Cody then says, my dad, and my brother wrestled at the stadium that's like not too far from here, and that's where Bad Blood's gonna be. Yada yada yada. Roman then goes on to, you know, kind of hit in the feels right here, where he says, they took away Jimmy, they took away my wise man, they took away my was it Ulafala? I want to make sure I'm saying it right. Ulafala,
Yes.
my Ulafala. So I got nothing left to lose. Cody, kind of backtracking, reminds him, 2 years ago I told you what was going to happen. You're going to be a man without a tribe, a Roman with no reigns. And, Roman just goes, "What exactly do you want from me?" And Cody says, "I just want your word that you're going to have my back." And Roman says, "You have my word. I'll have your back, but after Bad Blood, I'm taking back what's mine, which is, the title." And then Roman says, "You're in my way of life." And that's how the segment ends. So
So how you how did you like how they produced this?
I thought it was perfect. I loved it. I heard I heard Paul Heyman produce it, then I heard Jeremy Borash produce it or directed it.
Oh, they all had hands in it. Rob Fee, Jeremy Borash, and Paul Heyman. So
I thought it was perfect. I thought it was an amazing segment. Probably could have done without the music or the song choice. I don't know what that was, but I thought the score was fine.
the song choice. Who's involved in that, right?
Who?
Tice O'Neil.
Nice. All right. Again, it didn't ruin it for me.
I didn't like the song either, but I think they used it for for that.
Right. So I mean, again, WWE, this new era is about making everything look special and going back to vignettes like these that we used to have. Since we were talking about the McMahon documentary, seeming more like a history of WWE. We used to see vignettes like these that seemed like we were watching mini movies. So I thought it was really great. I thought it was it was cinema, as the people usually would say, and it definitely makes next week's pay per view mean a lot more than just like a run of the mill tag match. So I loved it. I thought it was great. What'd you think?
So I loved it. I mean, I can't add anything to it. It was perfect for what it was. The shots, the dialogue. It felt like a movie scene. But the next question I want to ask is, how often should we see something like this? Do you think this is something that WWE would be utilizing going forward? What are your thoughts about the utilization of this? For storylines as big as this.
I mean, you kind of just said it. You kind of just said the answer. It Storylines obviously big like this. Anything with Cody, Roman, of course, like for your big heavy hitters. Um, they are kind of doing some things in it with like the mid Carters. Like they did something with Carmelo Hayes on Friday where he has like the John Cena Spinner U.S. title, and he's doing a vignette talking about the title. So I like vignettes like these, but save ones like these where it seems like you're watching a mini movie
Yeah,
for your big stars.
gotcha.
And also for the big time matches that will make them mean something. Um, I'm surprised they haven't done that with Drew and Punk yet.
Yeah, I mean, maybe we'll get it next week. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe.
But I think this was great. I wouldn't mind seeing, somebody like AEW, utilize something like this too in the future. A
Right.
little bit more cinematics, you know what I mean? But NXT, they dabbled in that for a while though. But
Oh
this
yeah.
was like next level, I think. Because like in NXT, they're still using like the regular cameras, but here it was like movie quality, cinematic,
Mm.
type of camera work. So
Yeah. This was a treat, and I'm so happy that we got Lee Fitting, running the show as far as cinematics goes. But um, and I would love to see you know NXT do more stuff like this to make their matches mean something. But that was kind of the big highlight coming out of SmackDown. Other things that happened on the show, you had LA Knight versus Andrade, the U.S. title. Good match, very very good match. Um, and I guess that's gonna set up a match number 6 with Mello and Andrade. So cool. I like that they're going back to best of 7 because we haven't had that in a while. So it's always interesting when they obviously care about Mello. They want Mello to be something, and they obviously.
I'll say this about the best of 6, 7 series.
Hmm,
I never liked them in wrestling.
okay.
Never liked them. You want to know why? I
Why?
well, guess why first. Please take a guess.
Is it because they don't really lead to anything?
Not necessarily that. Like, it's not necessarily that. A lot of them do lead to stuff like it's like tiles online or kind of like what happened with the one in AEW with the trios championship that led to the trios championship. But like which one? You're not gonna remember the matches. You're not gonna remember the matches. You're not gonna know like, oh, which one. You're probably gonna think, oh, those are good matches, but like you're not gonna be like, oh, the fourth one was the best one out of them all. I remember that one. You know what I mean? Kind of like same thing like Booker T and Chris Benoit. They had good matches, but like which one do you really remember at the end of the day?
Right.
I don't know. Like it just feels all not necessarily lazy booking, nothing like that, because there's a story behind it. But it just feels all convoluted. You know what I mean? Again, good matches. I'm glad Melo and Andrade are getting this opportunity, but at the end of the day, it's just not going to be rememberable. We're going to remember that they had a 7 match series, but we're not going to remember like a match from the series. All the matches are just there.
No, I get you. No, I get where you're coming from. Um, Giovanni Vinci jobbed out to Apollo Cruz again. Now, I heard a rumor. Again, there's just a rumor, so I'm not trying to sell it as news or gospel. But there's a rumor behind this, which coincides to why he got booted out of Imperium and sent to SmackDown. And the rumor is that he apparently tried to get a little fresh with Tiffany Stratton, who is the
Where's this
girlfriend.
rumor coming from?
Again, I'm that's why I push this as I'm not trying to sell this as gospel. I just saying I heard rumor. It
From
came from the
who?
it came from the internet.
Obviously it did, but like from who though? Like was it a source? Was it Ringside News? Was it Fightful? Like, obviously it wasn't them, but like where did this come from?
Probably again just something less than on the internet. I just read it and I went okay.
Nah, I don't believe that.
Again, I'm not really reading too much into it. I'm just
I don't
saying
believe
a
that. That's I don't
a
believe that.
rumor. So again, rumor, but again, so he's lost to Apollo Crews 2 weeks in a row after selling this gimmick. Um, I know, was it last week he lost in like what 3 seconds,
Yeah.
and this week he lost in I guess longer than that, which was like just a minute, but I don't know. How do you feel about what's going on with Giovanni Vinci?
Fucking sucks. I
Okay.
already gave my thoughts on it. I don't know what else I can add to it.
Okay. Then you had Nia Jax and Tiffany Stratton versus Bailey and Naomi. The stipulation being, I'm trying to remember what the stipulation I think was like, if Bailey got the first pin for her team, she would get a shot at Nia Jax's title, but Bailey and Naomi both pinned her. Again, just convoluted booking. Remember that one storyline in like TNA where like it was I think it was the team of like Kevin Nash and Sting versus Samoa Joe and AJ Styles, and like the winner of it or the loser of it would get a title shot. It was like some convoluted storyline, but again, it was
Yeah, I don't exactly remember. Vaguely, but yeah.
Vince Russo booking, so that's probably
Yeah.
why.
Oh, there's that too.
Bro, then you had the main event, which was supposed to be Kevin Owens and DIY versus the Bloodline, and then the Bloodline took out DIY, and then the Street Profits came out, took their spot, and then no contest, and then Cody Rhodes came out and helped KO take out the Bloodline earlier in the night. Kevin Owens was seen as most wrestlers usually do, which is standing backstage and watching the giant television screen, looking very dissatisfied, almost disgusted
Yeah.
with Cody, teaming up with Roman. And Byron Saxon's trying to get a word out of him. KO doesn't. Seems like he doesn't really want anything to do with it. Goes to the ring. Sounds like he's about to make an explanation as to why, and then the Bloodline comes out. And then flash forward into the main event. There's a nice spot where KO is right behind Cody, and he has a steel chair. Looks like he's about to whack him in the back. Cody turns around. KO puts down the chair, hugs him, but body language tells you everything you need to know. So, kind of like what we were talking about, I believe last week, where eventually KO might even turn heel on Cody. Maybe even Randy might turn heel on Cody. Maybe both. Um, and that can be the storytelling of KO being like, I spent 5 years fighting these fuckers, and now you want to team with them? Like, seriously, fuck off. So it makes sense. And,
Yeah.
Cody falls into that problem of sometimes being the stupid babyface. Just like, yeah, just like happily agreeing to team with Roman instead of letting that marinate. But I don't know. But that was SmackDown for the most part. Well, not the most part. That was the whole show. So again, decent show, but it was again like it usually is, very bloodline heavy. Another rumor, which this seems more plausible, it's because it's coming from bigger sources, is that in January, SmackDown might move to 3 hours. This is from Russell Votes, I believe. But what do you think about SmackDown possibly going to 3 hours?
I don't like it, but it's USA's decision, so
Yeah, I'm not crazy about it either. I think 2 hours is what you need out of wrestling because I think after 3 hours,
gotta really dip in that third hour, especially on a Friday night.
yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, yeah, yeah. They need to keep that shit at 2 hours.
Unless if they go an hour earlier, I would not be opposed to a 6 o'clock start.
Yeah, good point. A wrestling show ending at 9, I think, is like heaven. That's perfect for us. But again, we'll see. We'll see what happens. But that was that was SmackDown. So Raw, big story coming out of Raw. The main event of the show was Jey Uso versus Braun Breaker for the Intercontinental Championship. Very good match, I will say. It was a very, very good match. Not a great
Really good
match.
match. It was really good.
Really, really good match. It was on. I got confused for a second because I thought it was in Ontario, Canada, and I made a post about it where I said
No.
where I said an entire building in Canada, and then I looked up. I'm like, oh shit, Ontario, California. So I had to like change my post. But
Yeah,
um,
until I get it, Ontario, CA, I get it.
yeah, yeah. But good match. Was expecting some bloodline fuckery. Wasn't the case at all.
Why?
Well, just to I guess to further the storyline with Jay and the bloodline and
That,
Roman.
no. Why? Why would the bloodline care about Jay right now?
I mean, they wanna hurt Roman. They want to hurt Jay.
But they haven't said anything about Jay on on
That's just.
SmackDown in months.
I mean, that's just kind of how I was seeing it. Like, there has to be some fuckery going on. Like, because this seems too like it's going in a direction that I'm not seeing, and it did.
Unless if they bring up something about Jay or like Solo not winning a title, like you haven't won anything yet, but your brother has. Then I think that's where we'll probably start seeing something. But as of right now, I don't. I'm getting very much further away from Bloodline versus Bloodline war games.
Okay, but Jay won the Intercontinental Championship with the splash. And Jay is now the new Intercontinental Champion. Finally won his first singles title on the main roster. Um, was annoyed with USA for cutting it off early and not really giving him a chance to celebrate, because I think by the time you got to the spot where they run into the barricade, it was already 9:58.
Well, I'm not annoyed with USA. I mean, that's the contractual obligation. I'm annoyed with Triple H and team for not timing the matches right.
Exactly.
That's what I'm
But
annoyed with. It has nothing to do with USA.
but Jey Uso is the new Intercontinental Champion. Didn't see it coming. I mean, Braun's only been Intercontinental Champion for a month. I was kind of expecting not a long title reign out of Braun, but a more dominant title reign out of him. I was expecting him to get this win and maybe do like a pop up and spear Jay in midair, but no, that wasn't the case. Jey
He's
Uso
gonna,
is.
yeah, he's gonna get the title back. This is not gonna be a very long title reign, I think.
Oh yeah, I was getting ready to ask you that. So, do you think this is more of a way of WWE saying, okay, let's give Jay a title because eventually we're going to do bloodline stuff, and then eventually Braun's going to get it back?
Yeah. I mean, I think they are gonna do bloodline stuff eventually. I just don't think it's gonna be at War Games. I don't think. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But um, I mean, but Jay deserves it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Deserves it. I think I think it was a good moment. He's like. Let me ask you this,
Hmm.
and I don't think we actually really sat down and thought about this. Who is the top 5 most over acts in WWE right now?
Right now.
Right
Okay.
now,
All right. Do we have to
because
go in order?
well, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was like, do I have to like go in order or just like
Oh, just
in
give me
general?
5. It doesn't have to be like, oh, I got so and so at number 1. No, just
All right.
the 5 actually believe is the most over in WWE right now.
All right. Jay,
Okay.
that's one of them. Rhea,
All right.
Cody,
Okay.
LA Knight,
Okay.
and hmm, there's one more. I'm trying to think. It's a little tough. I'm gonna say Roman.
Yeah, I got LA Knight out of there. Yeah, I got him at number 6, but that top 4 is good. But I also got CM Punk. I got
Hmm.
Punk, Roman, Cody, Jay, Rhea. Those are the top 5 most over people in WWE right now. And I think Jay, if I were to put him in order, I think Jay's probably like number 3 or something like that. I think he's like right there. But he is so over right now, and he keeps losing, and he kept losing and losing. He was off the SummerSlam card. How much more can you have this guy lose? He needed to win this match here. I mean, I don't agree with it. I would have booked, Braun to win still, but in WWE's eyes, it's like, man, this guy, he put up a lot of shit, after WrestleMania, and just not really doing anything, losing. He lost in the King of the Ring, right? You know what I mean, to Gunther, and hasn't really had that momentum as far as um creative wise. He needed something here, and the fact that he is really really as high as he's ever been. You know what I mean? I think he deserves his opportunity. Now, do I think he's gonna be a champion for a long time? No, I don't think he's gonna be champion for a long time. But what I do expect is that because this guy sells a lot of fucking merchandise, right? He's one of the top. I believe he's probably one of the top three, merch sellers within WWE. So he needs this opportunity. Well, top three, top four, but I think he needs his opportunity, deserves his opportunity, right? And also as well, he's they're still living up to that moniker main event Jey Uso. Well, how can you be main event if you're not winning big matches? So yeah, I mean, he won this year. But I also believe that Braun Breaker is gonna win back the title soon because they protected Braun Breaker because he took a spear, kicked out, splash, kicked out, all that stuff. So Braun Breaker is protected. I've seen people saying that he's buried and all this. No, Braun Breaker.
No.
Yeah, well, I saw some of that.
Yeah.
Not a ton, but I have saw some of that. And Braun Breaker, I mean, he's the future of the company. He's gonna name it more WrestleManias than fucking Jey Uso. That's gonna be.
Mhm.
I'm pretty sure about that. So very 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 good main event. Jey Uso deserves it, and looking at everything that happened after WrestleMania, I think it's clear why they put the title on him.
Right. And here's something that could happen. Next week is the pay-per-view on Saturday. It's going to start at 5, which the reason why is because there's a UFC pay-per-view. So I guess they don't want to like mix pay-per-views together. So here's what could happen. Next Monday, Jey Uso comes out to celebrate. Braun says, I want my rematch. And he can get it at Bad Blood. So
I don't know. Bad Blood's already pretty much well and booked. You know
well,
what I mean?
this kind of coincides to something that I think could happen, but I'll save it for next week and just
Yeah,
yeah.
I don't think that is a good idea. Because what are you gonna do? You're gonna have Jay champion for 1 week?
I'll save it. I'll save it for next week. I'll save
I
my.
mean, what is it? What Solo and they're gonna come out and screw him over and all that.
Well, I mean, well,
I
fuck it.
mean,
No,
that's obvious what you're gonna say. I mean, there's no other
I mean,
other thing. So
it could. I don't know. I think as far as like setting up war games, because that's, in my opinion, that seems like where we're going. I mean, it seems rushed already, but whatever. But that seems like where we're going, and that seems like a more of a believable place to get it started. Because
so you think that the is gonna be Bloodline versus Bloodline?
yeah,
Yeah, I'm not. I'm getting far away from that now.
okay,
I'm
I don't
getting.
know.
I really believe that they're gonna do the Cody and Roman with Randy and KO.
Okay, I mean that's probably sounds better, but I don't know. We'll see. We'll definitely see. Um, so yeah, that was the main event. Good main event. As far as the rest of the show, the rest of Raw was decent. It's pretty much a lot of matches being hyped up. Rhea Ripley hyping up her match with Liv, uh, saying, "I'm gonna beat you not just because I'm bigger than you, stronger than you. I'm gonna beat you because I'm smarter than you." That's what
Well, I
Liv
mean, the
Morgan.
main thing is that Dom's gonna be in a shark cage. Is good to so
A
he's gonna be
shark
suspended
cage.
suspended above the ring. So the funny thing is, not a lot of people are pointing this out, but like Dom was really supposed to be in a shark cage above the ring for the Cussy battle.
Really?
Yeah, he's supposed to be in a shark cage for the Cussy battle. So now it's coming full circle.
I'm so glad they didn't do that because that would have been silly as hell.
Yeah,
It works better now
yeah.
that he's scumbagged on. But if he was a little kid in a fucking shark cage in this very intense like rivalry about Eddie being his dad, that would have taken the steam out of that match, in my opinion. Um, then he had Sami Zayn versus Ludwig Kaiser. There was a funny spot where like was it Ludwig flips Sammy over the ring announcer's barricade onto the chair. That was pretty funny. Good match though. Good match overall. Then there was a bit where Xavier Woods and Rey Mysterio get into it, so they set up a match for next week.
That was
Uh,
a that was a very very good backstage segment.
right.
I'm really loving what they're doing with this Xavier Woods character, and looks like the break of the New Day is coming sooner rather than later. And also, you know what's coming up? I believe next month. I want to say
Hmm.
the 10-year anniversary of the New Day.
Hmm.
What would you like? So I think that what they're probably gonna end up doing is like they're gonna do like a 10-year celebration, and that's where the breakup's gonna be. I think Biggie may be involved too as well. That'll be a great way to do the breakup.
It's gonna be emotional too, because now that Biggie's back, Biggie can try and play peacemaker and just try to keep everyone together. But then that's where Xavier. I don't know if he's gonna go heel, but I think it's just gonna be Xavier saying like I need to go my own way.
No. Xavier breaking up the New Day, that is a heel move. Period. He's gonna be a mega ultra heel.
What I was thinking of when I said heel, I was thinking more like he beats up Kofi or he beats up Biggie. Like that was kind of what I was thinking about. But like you said, if he breaks up the New Day,
Anything
he,
breaking up the New Day is you're a heel.
he's gonna be hated regardless. Speaking of heel, Karrion Cross still being a devil's advocate. Trying to butter up Miz and
Yeah.
tell him it takes a monster to beat a monster. And so Cross pretty much being the Sean O'Hare gimmick. Saying I'm only telling you what you already know. So I think that's kind of cool. Then he had Miz versus Bronson Reed, which didn't really happen. Bronson and Braun still continue to brawl around the arena. Adam Pearce announced that for next week, not the pay per view, but next Raw, will be a last monster standing match.
I would like to see that on the pay per view, but
I would prefer.
but I think they want to give him like some good time for that. That may main event next week possibly.
Yeah. How do you feel about TV getting pay per view quality matches?
Totally fine with it.
Okay.
Yeah,
I
AEW does it all the time, you know.
I guess it's because like I'm so used to pay per view matches being on pay per view that when they're presented on free TV, I don't know. Maybe it's just I have that wired in my brain of like this should be a pay per
Exactly.
view. This should be
Yeah.
on pay per view. But
But also as well, we know that Triple H ain't doing fucking 10 match cards as well, unless it's
uh,
like Mania or big. So we already got 5 matches for Bad Blood. We're gonna get one more, most likely. You know what I mean? So that match with the new structure on how they're doing pay-per-views, that's not it's a pay-per-view quality match, but it's not a in this era, it's not a pay-per-view match per se.
right. No, I get it. It's just again, I still need to kind of get that out of my head of like you know things are different now. But yeah, I'm happy that these pay per views are only like what 5-6 matches,
Right.
and Mania is even Mania it only does like 5-6 matches per
Well,
night.
per night, they did like 7 matches, I want to say, per night. So, you know, um, so yeah, I'm fine with it. You know, I'm totally fine with it. SummerSlam had how many matches did it had? I got it up here. SummerSlam only had 7 matches.
Yeah, yeah.
SummerSlam only had 7 matches.
I mean, and they want to present the TV shows like a sports show, like wrestling
Right.
shows, and not
Right.
just like comedy variety, like do all that crazy shit. But
Yeah.
um,
Night one of WrestleMania has 7 matches. Night two had 7 matches. You know, I don't think we're gonna see more. I don't think we're gonna see 10 match cards no more.
well, at least on WWE television.
Well, I mean, yeah, that's what I mean. I don't obviously don't mean AEW.
I mean, well, to be fair, AEW on the last pay per view, it was 8 matches, but it ended at fucking 11:30 p.m. Oh god. Still a fun show to do. And then Drew McIntyre came out, did his promo, responding to CM Punk, saying, "I promise you, I'm going to make you bleed a lot. It's appropriate you compared yourself to the devil again last week because this has always been about good versus evil, hasn't it?" And saying he is bad for business in the locker room. The Scott wants him out of WWE. So, um, I don't know, like kind of like with Roman and Cody last week. Do you see the WWE doing something kind of similar for Punk and Drew next week?
Well, I'm not anticipating, but if we get it, it's good.
I mean, for them, it wouldn't make sense if they're just like face to face because they want to kill each other. Like
Well, not it doesn't have to be the same exact thing, but cinema, different shots using like movie quality cameras. Yeah, I'm not expecting them to be in a fucking middle of a baseball field and staring. No, I'm not expecting that. But I mean, I'm not really looking for it either. So, I mean, I think this Cody and Roman was special. I don't honestly, I don't want to see it next week because I'm like, okay, we just saw it. I want them to have these to be special. Does it call for it? Yes, it does. Also, at the same time as well, it's like I'm not clamoring for it. We just saw it. You know what I mean? I think they need to like space these out and make them special. Like you don't want to like start using them and use them. They won't be as special. So
I
you
get
know what
you.
I mean?
But and then the rest of Raw was, a few other matches, but a big chunk of it was mainly about the main event.
What
Um,
about the vignette?
yeah, with the big V. I know people said Viking Raiders, but from what I heard, Eric, his injury is pretty serious, and nobody's really sure if he's going to be back as soon as possible. So
I believe you. I just didn't see where that came from.
I really don't know what that. I mean, that could mean anything.
I mean, did you see what it did? Did you see the symbols?
Yeah, it was just a burning V, right?
No, it was not.
Oh,
It was not burning bee. It was a circle,
mm-hmm,
and it had what looked to be a P, an
mm-hmm.
F, and a R.
Oh, 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 oh. Um, I hope it's not what I think it is. I mean, I hope it is what I think it is, but maybe I'm booking. Maybe I'm overbooking it. Could it be the Lucha Bros?
Possibly. I mean, because the R and I mean, I'll send a screenshot if no one's seen it, but it right now, the Lucha Bros they're still signing AEW, and that's coming from multiple outlets, including. And we'll talk about that in the news segment. But come from like ringside and Fightful and all that. So, however, I mean it looks kind of. I mean, it's blatant. Like you know.
Yeah, yeah.
I see a R, I see a F, I see a P.
I don't know. I guess we'll find out more in the coming weeks.
Well, we'll see what that is, but it's something for sure.
Um. Yeah. What I was gonna say, White Six. Kind of rumored that they're about who their next opponent's gonna be. Apparently, it might be Judgment Day.
Yeah.
So that sounds like it could be fun.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's like the right next step. So yeah, I'll be definitely good for that, and that'll be a good way to them to win tag team titles too.
Nice. Which I think you mentioned this before, like right when the gimmick started. If they really want to put their stamp on the show, they need to start winning some titles. So this is the perfect way to do it. But that was Raw, people. So we get to NXT real quick. This was the last NXT on USA before they go to CW next week. They've been on USA for 5 years. Um, how would you view NXT's tenure on the USA Network?
I'm sorry, say that again.
I'm saying, like in the past 5 years, how would you view NXT's tenure on USA?
It was. I mean, it didn't need to go USA in the first place. I think they were fine on on the network. It only went to USA because WWE or really Vince want to snuff out AEW. It didn't work. They got their asses kicked. The first couple of years. 2.0 started. They did a complete reset, and now they're in a way better spot.
Yeah.
But they need to be on USA. So
Yeah, I
It
agree
could
on
have
that.
just been. It could just stay on the network.
Yeah, I agree on that part. I think it was better off there. All right. So yeah, like I mentioned, last episode of NXT on AEW, not AEW, on USA.
I saw a lot of fucking people tonight saying that this should have been the last episode of Dynamite tonight.
Oh boy, that bad, huh? Yeah, we'll get to it. The show began. You had Kalani Jordan versus Ren Sinclair, our girl, local girl. Well, I mean, not local girl, but she made her stop there. For the NXT North American Championship. Good match, really, really good match. I like that Ren is getting more TV time. She's shown that she has more that she actually has personality. I like her in no quarter catch crew because you see Charlie pretty much playing the straight guy and not selling any of Ren's over the top wackiness. And then you see Ren on the other side just be like being crazy. So it's working. But this is a very good match. This is a very, very good match between two very talented women. Um, Kalani got the win, of course. She's still the NXT North American Women's Champion. So I don't know. Did you have any thoughts on the match?
It was really good. I mean, Maddie's fucking great. I mean, she's always been so nothing new there. She's always been charismatic, super charismatic. So I'm really glad she's getting this opportunity, and she's she's hitting home runs right now. So Kalani's fucking great too as well. Know how I feel about her. So um, couldn't ask for anything more.
All right. Next is you had A-Town Down Under, bringing back the Grayson Waller effect to hype up their championship match next week with Frazier and Axiom. It was
Um, it's I believe it's on the St. Louis show.
St. Louis. There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, this segment was kind of eh. Other segments that happened, you had All Ego Ethan Page do a press conference to hype up next week's match. Says that he will talk to CM Punk about officiating. Trick Williams spoke to CM Punk about officiating, and then Punk made it very clear he's going to keep it fair on both sides. Spoke to Ethan Page about officiating, and pretty much said the same thing, but saying it if you get out of hand, I'll put you in your place. A, B, C, and D. Let's see, what do we got next? Yeah, Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson versus Hank Walker and Tank Ledger. Hank and Tank got the win, so good for them. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, one of those guys. I think they got married over the weekend. They got married to Danny Palmer, one of the NXT women. So
I don't keep up with it.
right, I know. Pretty Deadly. They had some pretty good news over the weekend. Elton Prince just announced that him and Killer Kincaid, they just had a baby.
Nice. Yeah.
So good for them. And
Awesome.
who's the other guy? The guy with the dark hair.
Kit Wilson.
Kit Wilson. Him and who's the girl who's Ava Rain's assistant?
Stevie Turner.
Stevie Turner. They just announced they got married. So good for Pretty Deadly. So I heard I was gonna say a stupid joke. I'm not gonna say it.
Oh, what was it?
It's a dad joke.
Oh, go. I mean, I say dad jokes all the time on here, so it can't be worse than whatever I say.
Um, when it was announced or when it was asked by Elton Prince, was it a boy? He said, "Yes, boy." I told you it was a dumb joke.
Yeah, I thought that.
Yeah, it was
I,
bad.
I'll put how well I'll put my reaction in the chat here right now.
Justin
Just
just wants
just
Justin just wishes he can just reach through the screen and slap the shit out of me for saying that. I'm sorry, people. I had to say it. I had to. Lexus King versus Oro Mensa. Uh, Mensa got the win.
good match.
Yeah, decent match. Pretty good match. Miz offered Miz TV for the Don and Femi next week in Chicago. Opa Femi. Ridge Holland versus Riley Osborne. which ended in absolute chaos. With Thea Hale getting in Ridge's face and screaming at him. So, Thea pretty much being a firecracker, as she
Maybe
usually
she
is.
wants a cage match against Ridge Holland.
Shit, make that happen. I'd be fine with it. Make it happen, people. But Holland got the win. Wesley and Zachary Wentz did their own little satellite uh, interview, whatever you want to call it. Kind of similar to Matt Riddle and Seth Rollins, where they just started going at each other. And
It's a direct take of it. It's nearly copy and paste.
all right, I need to see that again. And Wesley brought up Gigi Dolan, so made that shit personal. So this is kind of what we needed to really make this feud seem personal. Wendy
Yeah,
Chu and go ahead.
no, I said it was a great segment. Really liked it. Added a little juice to the to this feud. So no complaints from me.
Wendy Chu and Rosemary versus Carmen Petrovich and Brinley Reese. As you can imagine, Rosemary and Chu got the win. I like this tandem. It's the two creepy girls tandem. It works. And what else we got? A-Town Down Under versus Javon Evans and Cedric Alexander. A-Town Down Under got the win. I don't know. I wouldn't have wanted Javon Evans to be sacrificed to A-Town Down Under since he's gonna have a big match in 2 weeks against Randy, but that's just me.
I mean, he's gonna look great against Randy, and everyone's gonna forget about this match. This match don't matter.
Right.
I mean, are you gonna remember this match once he puts on a great show against Randy? No.
Yeah, again, it's just how I feel. Next week is announced that it will be Lola Vice and Jada Parker versus two members of Federal Influence. So I'm assuming it's JC and what the fuck's her name? Fallon. There you go.
Yeah, Valley Henley. Yep.
And then they had the final press conference for Roxanne and Julia, which was interrupted by Stephanie Vakor, who pretty much just said, whoever the winner of this is, I got dibs. So Stephanie Vakor making her, I guess, her debut, quote unquote, on NXT.
I'm gonna say this. She does not deserve a title opportunity.
Okay.
Not yet.
Right. I was kind of like thrown off by that because I was more of the ilk of like she should go after the NXT North American title.
No, I'm not even talking about that. I'm just talking about complete wrestling 101. Why, okay, what makes someone deserve an opportunity for a belt of sorts?
I mean, they got to earn it. They got to win some matches.
There you go. They got to
That's
win
number
some
one.
matches. So if they just put Stephanie Vakor versus by all means, great, right? Julia or Stephanie Vakor versus Roxy, great, whatever. But you need to come in. You need to start winning some matches. I'm not really okay with Julia. I mean, I get why they're doing it. October 1st, big show. I get it, but scaling it back. Okay, like Julia, you just came in. You're already getting a title shot right now. What I mean. I don't know. I don't know. It just doesn't sit well with me. But I mean, WWE's they've been doing this for years, and I will always be complaining about it. AEW does this as well, and I will always complain about it. So it's just one of those things in wrestling that I will never ever be fond of. So
Right. Yeah, I think for Julia, giving her too much too soon can be a bad thing. And
I ain't saying all that, but what I am saying is just logically it just doesn't make sense.
right, but like I say a bad thing because like yeah, she's been coming out, she's gotten some good reactions, but there's still that large part of the audience, the filthy casuals, as I usually say, that doesn't know who Julia is. And
The 50 casuals are not watching NXT.
right, but you know what I mean. Like I just I don't know. Like again, I get it because they obviously love this girl, and a lot of people love this girl, and I think she's great. Granted, I don't know too much about her backstory before NXT. I'm more looking at what she's doing now. She obviously has a great look. Um, she looks like a star. But again, just giving her too much too soon. I'm not okay with that. I think she needs to win some matches, like you said. But again, just nitpicking, little small nitpicky things. But that was NXT, the last NXT on USA, and will debut on the CW next Tuesday. So look for that, people. What happened on AEW tonight?
Did you watch first? Did you watch anything on Dynamite tonight?
Just saw clips. I know Hook retired the FTW title, gave it to Taz. So there's a nice little heartwarming moment between father and son. And I know the
Yep.
main event happened with Moxley and Darby. That's about it.
Well, they started off with, well, first of all, I'm not a attendance whore or or tarped off guy, but they were in Arthur Ashe and it didn't look like they were in Arthur Ashe. Did you see the set?
Oh boy. I think I saw Jeff Littman share something on social media.
Dude, the entrance ramp was so fucking short, man. Like you walk out, you take 3 steps, and you're like basically on the ring, like at the ring apron already. I'm not kidding you. It wasn't good. They put up a huge like their Titantron was bigger than normal to hide the seating behind it, and they had like long black covering. So not good, not good as far as attendance wise. I mean, the people that were there, they were very excited to be there. I mean, I saw a lot of people on Twitter posting pictures, being very excited. Good for them. Good for them going to to the show. But just overall, it's like, man, oh man, oh man, like it just doesn't look good. If I'm a AEW investor, if I'm somebody who is like, look, I'll put this picture in the chat here. It just look how short the ring from entrance to the ring, like look how short that is. Like that's not good. That's
Oh yeah.
like I've never seen anything like that.
Hold on.
That's not good. And look how big the Titantron is. That's not good. It's not
Jesus.
good.
Jesus Christ.
That's not good, man. As far as the show, Darby, Moxley, I enjoyed the main event. If you don't like, Moxley or Darby, whatever, right? But I enjoyed the main event. Wasn't is it a Dynamite match of the year? No, but it was a fun main event. Um, However, Moxley won. In hindsight, I'm thinking, okay, this it makes sense. It makes sense because of what Moxley did to Danielson. You know what I mean? Choke him out with the bag. Okay, get it. I think they're gonna go down. I think what's gonna happen is that you're gonna have Moxley versus Danielson at Wrestle Dream, and that's gonna be the debut of Shane McMahon. Moxley's gonna become the AEW World Champion, and Shane McMahon's gonna debut. And to get screwed, and obviously it's gonna be in Washington. They're gonna screw Danielson in Washington, having him retire per se, and because he said next time he's gonna lose. Next time he loses, he's gonna walk away from the ring full time. So I just don't understand why. I think TK wanted to have Darby Allin, and those rumors, they want to make Darby Allin the champion. But I think they may. I think they're probably gonna put the belt on Moxley and maybe have Darby take it off of him. I don't know. I don't know. But in hindsight, it does make sense. But I'm still not like, ooh my god, over it. Outside of that, well, the best thing about the show is me and Shirakawa. I'll just say that.
Mm.
So, I mean, come on, man. Anytime it's on my TV screen, like the show, like the show it automatically gets a 6 out of 10 just because of that. Um, Yeah. But you also had Danielson versus Nigel McGuinness. It was good to see Nigel. It was good to see Nigel. Actually, again, because obviously he didn't get to retire, the way that he wanted to, um, but yeah, but also at the end of the day, though, the match wasn't really great. Just saying that, but I mean, he wasn't in the ring a long time too, so but the match wasn't really great. So, but Dynamite tonight. I mean, it was a fuck off show. I mean, you see Mina. I mean, Jesus, like, come on. How the show doesn't get a 6 out of 10 for that? You
Hmm,
know, I'm just saying.
I
You
bet.
know, I mean, that's a woman, man. That's a specimen. She's a specimen for sure. Um, yeah, nothing really happened on this show. MVP showed up.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah, MVP showed up. So there was someone backstage. Well, I mean, apparently, Powerhouse Hobbs was watching backstage when MVP was out there. Maybe there's gonna be some correlation. I don't know. I mean, he wasn't like in, attire or anything. He was just like in, just in regular clothes, pretty much. So maybe he's gonna be working with them. But the story is that Prince Nana came out there to give an update about Swerve and say, oh, he's not ready, back ready to compete. And MVP came out there and saying, well, Swerve, I like Swerve, I mean, he's a great competitor, but he's been losing as late, and it's because of you. You know what I mean? So now they're gonna try to put blame on Prince Nana, and we'll see what happens. But maybe Powerhouse Hobbs is involved. Maybe we'll get Shelton Benjamin. Maybe we'll get Bobby Lashley. So, but at the end of the day, they're not game changers. They're not gonna change anything. Will it be good to see them on TV? Yeah, but they're gonna just fall in line like everybody else at the end of the day. So don't blame them going over to AEW though. Make your money, man. If the money's there, make it. So, but outside of that, you have the Young Bucks versus Will Ospreay and Kyle Fletcher. Good tag team match. Very good. Very good. Very good. I mean, you know, once you've seen all these guys do a match, you've seen it all, but it doesn't mean it was a bad match. It was a good match for what it was. But they are telling the story with Kyle Fletcher now, and looks like Will Ospreay. Um, it seems like they're telling the story with the screwdriver. That Don Callis will give I'm sorry, not Will Ospreay, but Kyle Fletcher. Will Ospreay blocked Kyle Fletcher from using a screwdriver on Matt Jackson. He said, "Hey, we're gonna win it the right way," and pretty much they lost because of it. So now there's gonna be a built-in story there with Kyle Fletcher and Will Ospreay. I think obviously they're gonna have Kyle Fletcher turn on Will Ospreay and go from there. So. But Dynamite tonight again wasn't anything great. I mean, you had fucking Roddy Strong and fucking Hook. Minus the segment with Hook and Taz. Good moment retiring the FTW title. The match itself, I could give two shits about. So Christian tried to cash in his Money in the Bank or whatever you call it. Fucking for some reason, Kip Sabian came out and stole his pin. Don't fucking know what that was about. That was fucking retarded.
Hmm.
Stupid. So there you go. I don't know. I mean, there were some things that made sense that I did like about this show, but just overall, again, it hasn't been good. Hasn't been good pretty much all year. So
Oh
I
boy.
mean, it was some show about a month or so. Like there was like a 4-week, 5-week stretch where they had really really good TV, but yeah, it hasn't been good for a while.
Oh boy. Yeah, last week me and RJ we did our own bus flip for the AEW roster on Friendly Neighborhood Mark. So go check that out. That was a lot of fun to do a deep dive on that. Really. But that was dynamite, people. That was the wrestling shows in general. So Justin, what are the news? What's the news out there?
Yeah, we got a lot of news out here today, including we'll start off with the Lucha Bros. The Lucha Bros. This is coming from Fightful Select. WWE sources claim that the Lucha Bros are not signed to WWE contracts yet. It's also coming from PW Insider that the Lucha Bros are still under AEW contract, so there's no way that they could have legally signed with WWE yet. While there have not been, why they have not been at AEW as of late, there have been talks with the promotion and are available to wrestle if needed. There is an expectation that when their deals expire, they are WWE bound. That is coming from two sources: Fightful Select and PW Insider. Yeah, well, we can talk about this really quick. What are your thoughts about this?
I mean, it's a wait and see thing, I
Sure.
guess, because it's one week it says they already signed, then this week it says that they haven't signed or that they're still under contract with
Yeah, I mean,
AEW. So
that's coming from fucking Russell Votes, by the way. That said that.
but who WrestleVet said what exactly?
They said on Thursday that they were the ones that got signed to WWE. It was a multi-year contract. Then
Okay.
Fightful and PW Insider had to come back on a few days ago rather. At this point, saying, "Oh, they're not signed yet. They're still under AEW contracts. They will be, just not yet." So
So yeah, again, it's just wait and see until they actually are, free from free from their own prison.
my own prison, took a Sunday morning, man, my head. Sorry.
Ain't got
So
no time.
all right. So moving on. Moving on. I don't like to do quote stuff, but I think this is kind of important because of the circumstances, and it's a good talking point. But it's come from an interview with Sports Talk Philly. Biggie has
Mhm.
revealed that he's getting scans in 3 to 6 months, and will sit down to discuss a return to wrestling if the doctors clear him to do so. He says, and I quote, "I'm just taking every day as it comes. I know that sounds cliche, but I get scans again in another 3 to 6 months, and if they look great, and the doctors say it's healthy for me to go back, then that's something where we'll sit down and talk about. But I'll try not to spend too much time worrying about things I can't control." It's nice to know that if I get the opportunity to get back in the ring and I can do it healthily, then let's do it. Let's do that. Let's attack it fully. But if not, I know exactly what I want to do, and I'm excited about that path too. So that's again coming from interview with Sports Talk Philly. Big E. He's at peace regardless, but he looks like he's getting scans. To see if doctors can clear him in the next 3 to 6 months. What are your thoughts about that?
I mean, it's one of those things of selfishly, I would love if Big E came back. Because it's Big E, I love Big E. But, you know, unfortunately, we might have to face the possibility that he might not ever come back, and sucks, because that neck injury was just gnarly to watch. But I mean, he looks like he has kind of a second life outside of the business. Or I mean, still in the business as an announcer. He's very entertaining when he does a lot of these pre-shows with CM. I think him and CM Punk are great together when they do these pre-shows. By the way, but yeah, I mean, he looks like he's happy. Regardless of not being in the wrestling business. I mean, he's dating my sister. Um, he put out that post where he said my neck is broken, but my heart is full. So I mean, again, I love Big E. I really do hope he does come back. Um, but knock on wood. Just that's kind of how I think about it.
All right. I have nothing to add. So, well, are you ready for our weekly AEW and Max update?
Eh,
This is
go
coming
for it.
from Andrew Zarian via the Matman podcast, who's also from Wrestling Observer newsletter, working for Mr. Meltzer. AEW pay-per-views will reportedly be landing on Max in January. They will be on Max in January. They could do it sooner, but I do know that they're playing on January. I do know that pay-per-views are going to be on there. They don't have any exclusivity um, on the pay per views, so it will be available in other places. It's like WWE is. You can still order those pay per views that are available on Peacock. So I don't know if you have really thoughts about this outside of what we're normally saying, but that is an update from for AEW and Max. So it looks like it looks like it's getting very close. And I think their 5th anniversary show is next week. So
Mhm.
I believe they could make an announcement next week, possibly. And I think 3 months out would be appropriate too. So, um, but yeah, any quick thoughts about that before moving on?
I don't really have any thoughts that I haven't already said before.
Sure.
So
Yeah, no, yeah, I get it. So, all right, moving on. Many within the industry believe that AJ Styles' WWE contract expires later this year or early 2025. That's coming from Fightful Select. Quick, do you think AJ Styles? Wait. Okay, I'll give you 3 options. What do you think AJ Styles is gonna do? Resign with WWE, retire, or or sign with AEW, or maybe TNA too. You could add TNA in there too. So
it personally wouldn't really surprise me if he did either of those things, because like if he decides to stay with WWE and then they kind of make him like a player coach mentor, or I guess more than he already is, it wouldn't shock me because they seem like they love him up there, and he seems like he loves being there. But it's also a thing of like, what else can he do? You know, like, because there was like a report came out saying like he wasn't even hurt. He's healthy. You just don't have anything for him to do.
right, yeah.
Same thing with Nakamura. They really don't have anything for him to do. So, and I think you pointed this out on the last show that WWE is going in a youth movement, and depending on who you are, you know, whether you're somebody that can still show up in the main event scene and draw money, you know, AJ Styles, you know, as much as I love AJ Styles doesn't draw. Like AJ is a good hand, is the best way to put it. And, you know, fucking God help him the way he's built. You couldn't tell that he's in his 40s. Like he still works like he's still 30 something. So, um, it wouldn't shock me if he decides to go to AEW and maybe join his friends. Again, my worry if he goes to AEW, he's just gonna be another guy on the card. Hopefully that's not the case.
Do you think he really cares about that at this point of his career?
I mean, maybe not. I mean, kind of like with Kevin Owens, where you know Kevin Owens is friends with the Bucks, and you know maybe if Kevin Owens goes to AEW, he could be a main eventer. But again, it's one of those things where like, do you think they care? You think maybe they just want to make money and have a good job security? So I don't know. I really don't know, but it wouldn't shock me if either of those three things happened.
So which one are you picking?
Hmm. I would say what I would prefer him to do would maybe sign with WWE and stay in a better job where he's not just going to be treated well, it seems kind of weird to say that now because he hasn't been on main television in a while, but I think for his psyche, it'll be better to stay in WWE.
Okay, I agree. I agree. That'll be my choice too. So, all right, Hikuleo. Haven't heard the name in a while, but he is signed to WWE, and coming from PW Insider, he has been added internally to the WWE NXT roster. So,
Hmm.
Hikuleo, part of the Bullet Club, brother of the Tongans, right? Part of the Girls Destiny in New Japan. Seems like he will be going to NXT according to PW Insider from what they're getting. So, do you think that'll be a good first step for Hikuleo?
Yes, I think he does need a good. I think maybe this is an unpopular opinion. I think anybody that is not that new, or I guess new, but hasn't really had too much experience, you know, in the wrestling business, they really do need to make their first stop in NXT, unless you're like an AJ Styles where you can like bypass the NXT system. Um, for someone like Hikuleo, who's again, I don't know much about him, and you know the filthy casuals don't know much about him either. I think it's better for him to go to the not the main roster to NXT to kind of learn the WWE style and break him down a little bit and hone his skills. So yeah.
All right, all right. Moving on, moving on, moving on.
I don't mean to cut you off real
Yeah,
quick,
go
but
ahead.
like, did you hear apparently Zillafat too? He's not gonna have any more dates in GCW.
Yeah, because he no showed.
Okay, I didn't know that. All right, moving on.
All right. Well, moving on here. Miro.
Hmm.
I love Rusev. I love Miro. He's requested his release from AEW. So that's coming from Fightful Select. Um, what do you think the future for Miro is?
I personally think the future for Miro is not wrestling.
Yeah.
I mean, because from what I heard, he already moved back to Bulgaria like a long time ago.
Yeah.
I know him and Lana, they split up like a long time ago. So I don't see him wanting to be in wrestling anymore. He probably just wants to head home and just do whatever. I mean, for all we know, maybe Triple H or somebody will make a pass at him, be like, "Hey, you want to come back and make a few extra dollars, get Rusev Day back up and running?" So I don't know, but I personally, to me, I think he's done with wrestling in general.
I don't think he's done with wrestling. I think he can, he can probably be in TNA or something like that. But, um, I love Rusev, but there's no benefit for him in WWE at this point
Right.
at all. So, all right, moving on. Coming from PW Insider, expect a lot less WWE house shows going forward, especially in 2025. Wanted to bring this up here because WWE, they're doing great business, right? They are making more money than that they ever have in their history, right? This is good for the boys and girls, because they don't have to work as much. But also on top of that as well, they're gonna have to increase ticket pricing,
Right.
and most people are gonna be paying for the shit anyway. So, what do you think about this as far as a business perspective for WWE?
I mean, I think you kind of said everything that needed to be said. Like house shows, they obviously have their benefits because they help people that aren't used to live crowds, especially like when you're bringing people up from NXT and who've mainly only known Florida, and now they get to work in like other countries, other states, cities. So they definitely have their benefits. They help people get better in the ring and get better with dealing with crowds. So that's number one. Um, but I'm also fine with them downsizing house shows because sometimes they can also have their defactors. Like if you put your main eventer on a house show and he gets hurt,
Right,
like when Seth, was the champion that one time he got hurt on a house show,
right.
having a random match with Kane. I'm like, well, why was he on a house show? But I mean, I get why he needs to be on a house show because he was the champion. But again, I'm fine with them downsizing house shows because you know it's a much different business now, and you're allowing people to have more time at home with their families. So I'm fine with that.
What do you say to the people that kind of like the Baron Corbins, the Braun? Well, Braun showed me he's on TV more now, but what do you say like to those people like who are not really getting the opportunity on shows like the Angel Garzas, Blair Davenport, Electra Lopez, people like that who are not really getting those opportunities, and they were getting those opportunities on house shows, and now it seems like it's not official, or anything like that, but it looks to be that a lot of those opportunities are getting taken away. What would you say to that? Like, what would be one thing you would suggest to somebody like that?
Well, it's kind of like what they're doing with NXT, where they're sending a lot of people to TNA and to Japan. Like, why not send Baron Corbin to Japan? Why not send Angel Garza to TNA?
Well,
Yeah,
but there's some people who don't really want to go to Japan. You know what I mean? There's some.
right.
The opportunities will probably be given, but it's like,
Well,
like
I mean, it's kind of like it's like an idea. It's like if you don't have anything to do if you don't have anything for Cross to do, why not put Cross in TNA? Because Cross used to be in TNA.
Right.
Or I mean, Japan loves their big guys.
But again, I get what you're saying, but again, they have not really utilized main roster guys for TNA. It's really like a breeding ground for NXT and more. I've seen, you know what I've seen lately though? I've seen. Do you follow Reality of Wrestling?
Do I follow what?
Reality of Wrestling?
That's Booker T's Fed, right?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you, I don't know if you pay attention. If not, that's fine. But they've been sending. He's been getting NXT folks booked on those shows. Not like fucking Trick Williams. Well, he was there for like a couple years ago, but like not like Ethan Page or Javon Evans or anything like that. But like like Briley Reese, she was there. Um, they had Tatum Paxley there not long ago too as well. So they've been utilizing the lower card talent. So if anything, I think an equivalent would be like GCW because they have been doing that for like the Josh Barnett's Bloodsport. So maybe like a
Right.
GCW or maybe like or maybe like a big local like wherever they're in Texas, right? Hey, let's send Baron Corbin down to RCW. Let's just see if we try to give him a match book with the champion down in RCW. Or hey, let's send Angel and Alberto, down to Reality of Wrestling and have them face their tag champ. Something like that. I think that'll be better because it's gonna help those particular promotions, but also B, you get to scout local talent and see like, okay, are these guys ready for NXT? Can we bring them in? Can we mold them? Can we? It'll be like a scouting too as well, not just for the match that talent is from WWE, but also as well everyone that's on the card. It'll be a big standout for them. So I think there's a better way of doing it, just saying like, oh, just go to TNA, because I think TNA is really for
Right.
NXT folks.
Well, I
I
mean,
think there's other ways that they can go about it.
right. No. I get you. Like, and I forgot about the Bloodsport stuff and GCW stuff like that. I thought that was pretty cool when they sent Shayna down to Bloodsport. No, but again, it's just me maybe overbooking. Like, I'm just thinking about maybe some good wrestling matches. Like, what about Carmelo Hayes going down to TNA wrestling Dolph Ziggler?
I
Like,
mean,
that'd be fun. That'd be fun.
that's fine, but I mean, I think it from a business aspect. Like, I mean, it's cool, but like,
Or
I don't think it's not a benefit. I mean, it's not really a benefit. It's a benefit to CNA, but it's not really a benefit to Carmelo. Like,
right.
he's
Well,
doing great on the main roster right now. Like,
I'm using somebody that's actually doing something. I mean,
right. I get you.
just like people that aren't really doing anything. Like, send Apollo Crews to TNA. Have them do
No,
something.
no, well, yeah, that's
Or
fair.
like Japan loves their big guys. Like, have Baron Corbin go to Japan and do an appearance. You know what I mean? I don't know. Just me trying to come up with ideas, because WWE is a much different business oriented space right now, where they're all about, hey, let's work with others. Let's play nice with
Right.
others. So
Gotcha.
again, that's just me.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, that's it there. I got one last story here, and yeah. We like Alexa Bliss, right?
I don't hate her.
We like Alexa Bliss. We love her here. Alexa Bliss is not currently scheduled for any immediate return as of now, according to WWE sources. One source even remarked that they didn't expect her to return until after the holiday season, and that with the current creative regime, they maximize everything they do. So there's no need to rush anyone or anyone or any story onto television. That's coming from PW Insider. So she also posted like a picture of herself. I think it was like today or yesterday. I'm not too sure, but it seems like she's kind of teasing that she's going to be coming back very soon. And she had her child, right? So wanted to spend some time with her child, obviously, as a brand new mother. So obviously she wants to be a mother to her child. So, but Alexa Bliss. I mean, I think depending what they bring her back, she's a veteran at this point. It's kind of crazy to say that she's a vet, right? Alexa Bliss. Um, but she's a veteran at this point. I think she will add something to the women's division as well. She doesn't have to win titles or anything like that, but we know what Alexa Bliss could do. You know that she can be very charismatic. She can talk a little bit too as well. And she wasn't that bad in the ring, so I think it'll be I think it'll be a positive thing for her to come back. What do you think?
I mean, again, I'm not. I don't dislike Alexa Bliss. Alexa Bliss, for what it's worth, she sells merch. People, liked buying like the little, was it the gloves with the skulls on them? So she sells merch. People like her. She wasn't terrible in the ring. I wouldn't say she was great, but she wasn't terrible. I'll just leave it at that. And she could talk. Um, I mean, I think allegedly the idea was when she came back, she was going to be in the White Six. That's kind of what I heard, but um, yeah, just good for her. She wants to. She's taking as much time as she needs because she's a married woman and she's a mom. So congrats to her on that one. But yeah, just you know, it's one of those things of like I don't hate her, but I don't. I'm not gonna say she's my favorite. So I'll just leave it at that.
I mean, do you think that she'll be an asset to come back?
I think she has a nice ass.
All right.
She'll be a nice asset. She'll be an asset to whatever she joins. I'll just leave it at that.
You hate her. I'm just
I
kidding.
don't. No, no.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
I do. I despise her. No, but yeah.
That's it. I'm good there.
Let's end it with something because you brought up AEW having their 5-year anniversary next week.
I believe. I believe it's next week. Yeah, it's coming up in the next couple weeks for sure.
So you like lists, don't you?
It's depending what they are.
So I found a list. I found a list on the Sportster,
Oh shit.
and it's the 10 greatest moments in AEW's 5-year history, ranked.
Okay, sure.
All right, so I haven't looked at these choices, so I'm just gonna run them by you. Tell me what you think. I might chime in too, but number
I mean,
10.
it'll be fun that we'll talk about it together.
Number 10. Stadium Stampede summed up AEW's perfect approach to the pandemic.
The first one, yeah.
Yeah.
I love the first one. It was fucking chaos. Yeah, I mean, and it was a very unique way on doing something different, right? They made a brand new wrestling match because of the pandemic. And, oh, we got this fucking stadium here. Might as well, what would it be if we just did a fucking wrestling match, in the entire stadium, and you had like the because it started off because it was Matt Hardy was involved. I think it was like regular Matt Hardy, then he turned to broken Matt Hardy in the process. So
Yeah.
and that was and that's when the what you call it, the cinematic matches, which have gone the way of the dinosaur at this fucking point. That's when cinematic matches were like all the rage too. So yeah.
Yeah, I remember that.
I have to hear I have to hear the rest of the list, but so far I'm not mad at that.
Right. Number 9.
Well, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean the first one was. I'm not gonna say it wasn't my cup of tea, but it was fun. I haven't seen the other ones. I don't watch the other Stampede matches anymore because they seem like they're being stupid for the sake of being stupid, rather than just being like stupid schlocky fun. But that's just my opinion. Number 9. John Moxley's debut was a wild way to close AEW's first ever pay-per-view.
Yeah, that's definitely a top 10 moment.
Yeah,
That was making a statement to WWE.
yeah, he debuted attacking Kenny Omega, and then they had the lights out match,
Yep.
which
Yep.
I remember actually liking. I enjoyed that match. I remember me and Ruben Prime reviewed that match on the
I will
show.
argue that it's top 5 to me. I'm just saying, I'll argue it's top 5. I got to hear the rest of the list, but it's definitely top 10 for sure. Yeah.
Number 8. Number 8. MJF cut the best promo in AEW's history during his feud with CM Punk.
Oh, which one?
This was on the February 23rd, 2022 episode of AEW Dynamite. Let me just read it real quick. MJF became vulnerable in front of fans for the first time ever. He spoke about how Punk and
Oh
wrestling.
yeah.
I didn't like that promo. I did not like that promo. It just it kickstarted that MJF's weird like phase into talking about his feelings, which I know that's
Does that not give him layers to his character? And gives the reason why he's a fucking miserable asshole.
I- okay. Mental health is important. Mental health, especially for men, because for a long time men were
Because
always
I can
taught,
relate to that, so
you know, we as men were always taught, don't cry, don't show emotion, be strong. I get the mental health thing. Maybe it's just a Gen Z wrestling thing where you have to talk about how depressed you are. I don't know. I don't like hearing about it in like the most random of promos. This is just a weird
Well, I
promo for
mean,
me.
well, you know what led to it because I think it was the following week,
Yeah,
he fucking came out and like he just, Punk was like, I don't know who this was last week, whatever, but like, you know what I mean? Then like, because it was before the Dark Collar match, right?
yeah,
Yeah, and when he ended up fucking blaying up Punk and Punk was bleeding all over the place, he was chucking with the with the dog collar. I thought that was tremendous, and that promo set up that tremendous moment. So, you know, I
yeah.
mean, I don't know. Now, I will say this: I don't think that's his best promo. I
No,
don't
no.
at all. I will say that, but why I will say that did add layers to his character and add it helped his origin a little bit more for me. Now, what was this dated?
You mean the promo?
No, the article.
I think this is dated 3 days ago, actually.
Oh, okay. Okay, fair. Okay. Then I disagree with this one. If a MJF promo needs to be here, there's other ones that should be there.
Oh yeah. Number 7. Cody Rhodes versus Dustin Rhodes helped to truly establish AEW on its first night.
I agree,
Good
100%.
match. Very good match. Um,
It's a
yeah,
great match.
I don't think there's much else that needs to be said. It was a good match.
Yeah, I
So
mean, the story was great. You know what I mean? Like, two brothers going at it, and it was a blood match, and literally blood. Both got it was a 5-star match. That Meltzer gave it, and deservingly so. So, you know, still one of the best AEW matches of all time too, as well. Definitely top 10.
yeah. Number 6. Sting's retirement match was booked perfectly at AEW Revolution 2024.
Top 10 of all time. For what AEW, the identity of AEW and how they use their legends, especially Sting, I I will have to agree. I think it's probably like lower. I'll have it lower on my list, but I agree. Him coming out to seek and destroy, him being out there with his sons and winning the title, and Darby like the third son he didn't have. You know what I mean? So it's like, yeah. I think I tend to agree. It's a little bit too high for me, but I think I agree.
Right. Yeah, great retirement match. I know we talked about it
Yeah.
when we reviewed this show. Yeah, it was a great retirement. That's probably, if we're talking about retirement matches.
It's one of the best ever.
Yeah, exactly. Number 5, Brian Danielson's Wembley Championship win was electric.
I don't know if I have that top 10. I love the moment though. I
Yeah,
don't know if I have a top 10 just because of the build up to it. The story was like it was story, but it wasn't like damn that strong. I want to have it over Dustin and Cody. I want to have that over Mox's debut.
right,
I wouldn't. You know what I mean? I wouldn't. Great moment. I don't know if I have a top 10 though.
right.
Top 20, top 25 for sure. But not I don't think it's top 10. I don't think it's top 10.
Number 4.
No, what are your opinions on that?
No, I agree. I mean, I think there's been other bigger moments in the company, from earlier years. Especially stuff in the, I guess, the newer age of AEW have been kind of again, there's been some high spots. This is coming from a guy who hates AEW, quote unquote. But I mean, there's been some high spots. But in the earlier years, it was I think it was when the show was
More special.
more special and seemed like
I'll
something
put it to
different.
you this way. Don't say if it's on the list or not. But I would rather have Swerve's house getting burned down than
Jesus
that.
Christ. Well, I mean, we're at number 4. Number 4. Adam Page's AEW World Championship victory is AEW's most satisfying moment ever.
Oh yeah, yeah. The story build up to it was fucking fantastic. It's like it's one of their best. It's probably their best story to me. Let me slide that back. Top 3, but yeah, the build to it. Oh, fucking fantastic. Just everything. Like just literally everything with the story. Like that was Tony Khan's best longest term story because it took like what was like 2 years before he even won the title, right? Or whatever, however long it was. Like it was spot on. I really enjoyed it. Now his title reign, that's something different.
Yeah.
But the build though, I thought it was tremendous stuff, man.
That was the only AEW pay-per-view that I actually purchased. $50. So
I purchased every AEW pay per view except for up to this year.
right. Yeah, it was a big moment. Number 3. CM Punk's return to wrestling will always be iconic.
What number is that?
Number 3.
That's to me. That's number 1. That's
Yeah.
To me,
I mean,
that's number. To me, that's number. I gotta see the other 2, but to me, as of right now, that's number 1. Like,
it's CM Punk.
well, you know what? There's one that I will rival. There's one that I will actually rival for it to be number 1. And I'm pretty sure it's gonna be on this list, and we'll talk about it. But yeah, CM Punk returning and just fucking this is when Rampage was fucking actually important. And they set the second Rampage show for CM Punk's return and the promo and people crying in the crowd, the emotion. Yeah, I thought that's one of the best moments in wrestling history.
Right, like you brought CM Punk back to wrestling after being gone for 7 years.
Without AEW, CM Punk would not be in WWE right now.
Exactly. So this should definitely, in my opinion, be number 1. Number 2. I don't know why this is even on this list. Well, I don't know, maybe. Number 2, the end of All Out 2021 could be AEW's most surreal moment ever.
Yep, and that's what I was gonna say. Yep. Adam, at the time, you gotta think about it at the time. Danielson coming out, or I'm sorry, Cole coming out, because we didn't know if Cole was gonna be with AEW or staying with W. As high as Adam Cole was, like, let's not forget how hot he was with Undisputed Era in NXT. Then Danielson coming out, like, was like, oh my fucking god, you know what I mean? So, and plus that was CM Punk's first match too. So this was my debate for number 1. Number 2, I think this will probably be my number 2 though. So I have no complaints about it. It was one of the biggest moments because at that point people were like, oh my god, AEW. Because remember, 2021. Think about WWE in 2021, right? Roman was gaining momentum, right? Tribal Chief, that service game. But outside of that, there was nothing on WWE. Pandemic, no fans, all that bullshit. Then AEW was gaining momentum. People really thought that AEW was really gonna start to overtake WWE. Not as far as like in the ratings per se. Well, they technically did as far as like the 18 to 49, but that's different. But as far as total viewership, yeah, I agree with this. I think it's one of the most. Now, did it work out at the end of the day? Adam Cole definitely not, right? Bryan Danielson, yeah, I mean, yeah, he's the champion right now, so yeah, but like it didn't work out as far as like extra, viewership and popularity. It didn't help out from that aspect. But at the time, oh yeah, it was an electric night. It was a very electric night for sure.
Right.
What are your thoughts?
Yeah, you kind of said everything that needed to be said. Again, I don't know if I would have put it that high, in my opinion. I mean, Punk should definitely be in the top 3 of moments of
Oh
anything
yeah, I agree.
AEW related. Again, I don't. I just again, I don't. Personal opinion. I don't know if it should have been that high. Number 1, Brody Lee's tribute show.
Ah, well, all right. Well, yeah, that's number one.
I mean, what a
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
There's no,
I stand corrected. That's number one. That's number one. You can't. The best tribute show I ever seen in my life, man. You
yeah,
know,
you can't
it's
argue with
so
that.
so emotional, man. Like I cried. You know what I mean? I wasn't like a huge Broy Lee fan, but just with little Broy coming out holding it's like God, Jesus, man. Like you can't help but ball. Fuck, it's like you like best thing, probably the best thing Tony Khan's ever did. Production, retiring the that version of the TNT Championship and giving it to the family. Like you can't ask for anything more. So yeah, that's number one. I wasn't thinking about that obviously, but yeah, that's definitely number one for sure.
Yeah, and then Brody Lee became a traitor, and then went to the WWE and was on WrestleMania.
Oh, I'm not gonna. I mean, I'm not gonna
He's a
say.
traitor. No, I'm playing. I'm
Yeah,
playing. I'm
I mean,
playing.
we're talking about a sensitive moment here. I'm not gonna,
I
you know,
know. I
jump
know.
on
Just
that.
that's just my shtick. No, again, can't argue. It was an emotional show. Um, again, like kind of like you, I wasn't the biggest. I'm not gonna say I was a huge Brody Lee fan, but I liked his stuff. I liked him as Luke Harper. I always thought he was a guy that was just criminally underrated, and they could have really done something with. But came to AEW, became a bigger star, and the short time he was there for obvious reasons. Um, and I really liked the match that he had with Cody. Was it the dog collar match?
That was the last match. That was tremendous.
That was great. That was one of my favorite AEW matches.
Yeah.
That was when Cody had the black hair. Um,
Yeah.
but
That's when that was you mean 2011 Cody.
well, I think he had the black hair because he was like filming a show or something like that. But I remember just feeling like the biggest asshole in the world because I would critique Brody's matches. I'm like, there's something off about him. And I remember when I was doing my year-end, awards that I was actually getting ready to give him my least favorite wrestler of the year.
Oh wow,
And then
Jesus!
when that happened, because that landed on the show, the day of the show, when I saw that, I'm like, I'm literally the biggest piece of shit in the world. So, because I remember me and RJ were doing that show. We were doing our year-end award shows, and we talked about the tribute show and Brody. And when that happened, I was like, "Fuck, I can't give him that. No, I can't do that."
I mean,
Um,
just like that's why I still don't believe that a lot of people from last year they gave LA Knight and Bray Wyatt worst match of the year. Like I can't do that. Like I can't do that. That's
no,
insensitive. Very
no.
insensitive to do.
And that was actually my choice of least favorite match of the year. But I was like, "No, I can't do that. No, I gotta find something else." That was no, I can't do that. Um, but that was the list, people. And that's the end of the show. We have no more show. We did 2 hours and 4 minutes. So again, I always have to thank Justin. Justin, thank you for tonight. Thank you for making the show work the way it always does. So thank you,
Absolutely.
thank you,
Absolutely.
kind sir. Tell people about Spinebuster Tees and what of it.
Yeah, Spinebuster Tees, spinebustertees.com. Follow me on there. You don't want to miss out on all the great stuff that I will be having coming to Spinebuster Tees. Don't want to say anything. It's not anything major or anything like that, but I'm always working on new stuff for the website and also as well inside my store. Spinebuster Tees on Instagram. Follow me on there. Keep up to date with everything that I have inside my shop, which is Spinebuster Tees at Wonderland of the Americas in San Antonio, Texas. Come and get your wrestling t-shirts, wrestling hats, wrestling socks, wrestling action figures, wrestling Funko Pops, wrestling trading cards, wrestling autographs, wrestling vintage wrestling magazines. So definitely come on in and come shoot the shit with me. And also on top of that as well, purchase something. Doesn't matter if it's a sticker. Anything helps. You know what I mean? This is my full-time gig, and I want to make it survive. So your support, I don't. How should I say? I don't survive or even thrive, you know, without your support. So thank you. So, but yeah, Spinebuster Tees. Follow me on Spinebuster Tees on Instagram. Spinebuster Tees are Wonderlands of the Americas, and SpinebusterTees.com.
Yes, sir. And the show, you can listen to the show anywhere where podcasts are distributed, like iTunes, like Spotify, like Spreaker. Just name a few. You can go on the YouTube channel, which I noticed a few people subscribe to the YouTube channel while we were recording. So welcome to the.
Give him shout outs. Well, who subscribed? Do you have the information? If not, no big deal. I mean, if you don't have it on hand.
I want these people to feel special. Looks like a fellow by the name of Vox Extremos 22 subscribed to the channel. So
Something happened to your mic, by the way. It seems like your mic switched, so probably want to switch it back.
hold on.
If not, it's okay. We're at the end of the show, so
Yeah, it's the end of the show. It's the end of the show. Fuck it. But yeah, just shout outs to everybody who are friends of ours who support the show, who support us, and yeah, just head over to the YouTube channel and subscribe. Get those followers up, and social media, accounts. DY Experience at Twitter, Instagram, and yeah, that's about it. So we will see you next week. For the experience, we'll be doing predictions for Bad Blood. And we'll also be doing the Bad Blood post show live on here and also on the YouTube. That show starts at 5. So I'm thinking it might end around 7:30. So what time do you want to do that show?
We'll just shoot. Well, it may be a 3-hour show. No, it starts at 6, doesn't it?
It's 6 o'clock Eastern time.
Oh shit! So it starts at 5 then. Okay. Well, yeah. I mean, 8 o'clock, I guess.
Well, because next Saturday is a UFC event too, so
yeah,
they
8 o'clock. 8 o'clock.
Okay, 8 o'clock, and might get a third man on here. Might get RJ. Trying to see if I can get RJ or Ruben, one of those two. But all right, people, we'll see you next week, same time, same channel. And what else can I say but peace out.